Gotta find another way, but it ain't easy when the money's tight. But I'm sure I'll work it out, find the workaround. The CRAPTOP can be a real pain in the ass to work with, especially when you can't even play videos on YouTube like this. And this happens with most videos. Some videos will play, but most of them are really like this. Will play you bits. The picture will hardly move at all. And on Facebook, it's even worse. I mean, just some of the little ads that Steve posts on his Facebook wall, they won't even move either. You can hear all the audio and that's about it. This particular laptop I had given me, oh god, about a good 5 years ago now, and basically I actually had a couple given me, but none of them were working, and this is the only one which was I was able to really repair without spending a lot of money on. And basically what was wrong with this one was the operating system. But in saying that, the thing is with a laptop as old as this, which is well over a decade old now, is that it was the motherboard inside it, you can't really upgrade it to anything faster, and it only supports Intel Celeron processors, and I do believe that's more or less at the highest point at 2.2 gigs on a single core processor, and even like dual core processing for this particular board only went up to something like 1.7 gigs, so there's not a lot of power in these things when they was brought out, and that's why they basically only cost about £350 when they come out in about 2007, 2008. I'll be honest with you, I've always called laptops CRAPTOPs, because basically I mean, a computer to me is, I'm very much a desktop man myself, and these things are like, I think like back years ago you could still pay, you know, over a decade ago you could still pay £1,000 to £2,000 for a laptop, but back then a lot of the processing power, they couldn't really handle the cooling the way they've done things today. Technology certainly has moved on today regarding that, and today's laptops you can get much higher processing in them, and because they've got around the cooling system for them, so they're not so bad today. But in saying that, the laptop to me has always had its disadvantages over the desktop. I mean, these are the type of things you can't change the graphics in them, the audio in them, so that, you know, it's very limited what you can do. I mean, for example, to me the laptop has always been like, for audio especially and whatever, like it's a bit like working with one of these and one of those. Whereas you can see, like, I mean, with a cassette deck or a ghetto blaster, you would have to buy certainly you're limited as to what you can plug into it. So you have to work around by buying other cables to fit on other cables to do the job, and it's a lot of tedious mucking about to try and get things done. Whereas like an Wi-Fi and a desktop has got the proper connections for it to be plugged in there, so it's easier to work with as a studio. I mean, I'm not saying these are not that good as studios, but like and they're certainly great for being portable, for taking you know, for use with keyboards and things like that. So, you know, and MIDI like that. So it's not too bad for that. Originally, this laptop did have Windows 7 on it, and I mean, I actually reinstalled the operating system on it and put a fresh install on it. So, but it was still like very sluggish, and that's basically because of the memory inside it. I mean, there's only like 3 gigs of memory in this at the moment, and that's only because they were chips I could find about what I had through fixing various other people's computers and stuff like that over the years. So like I had those lying about, and that's the only, and because it's a Celeron processor anyway, it's not the kind of thing I would consider spending money on, because you can't really improve it a lot, not a great deal anyway, but it may be worth getting at least replacing the memory. That might help it. But what did help it was that I did take 7 off here and put Windows 10 on, and it does work a bit better, but it's still like a snail. But I still think that if I was to spend a bit of money on putting this up to its maximum of 4 gigs, which it can take, it might do a bit better, but not a great deal of an overall improvement. But certainly the laptop to me has always had a lot of disadvantages. I mean, if you're looking at the size of the screen, for example, which is not really big, and if you're a musician and you sort of even want to write a song or something, this laptop particularly gives me absolutely nothing to do that, because it literally is that slow. I cannot even put Microsoft Word on here because it won't run it. To give you some idea about this really slows me down with many things, is like, for instance, with a song, is that because I can't put Microsoft Word on here, I have to, I find out even typing things on here, I have if I'm typing a message to somebody, in particular a comment on Facebook or whatever, I often find myself either, especially a long comment, I often find myself typing out in my email by creating a new mail, or even on making a comment on somebody's YouTube channel and just copying it and not posting the comment on there and copying it to Facebook. So that's the workaround without Microsoft Word. But the disadvantage it has as well, if you're doing a song, is that because the screen's that small. For example, here's the lyrics I'm writing for a new song here. There's no way you're really going to be able to pick up your guitar and look at the screen and be able to read them. And not only that, I like the words sort of here and over there sort of thing, so you can fit them all on one page, and you certainly couldn't play the guitar and sing and scroll down at the same time. So the only work around that, the way I work around that, is to really get a snipping tool and snip so much of the words, and then snip another bunch of the words and do a collage and put them so they're over there and over there. And once in a collage, it looks like this. And the good thing about this is that you can, this laptop, because it's got Bluetooth, you can actually send that to your TV. And there you have a much better way of being able to perform the song like that if you haven't got all the words in your head. The new video editor in Windows 10 is pretty good, and it's got an array of effects you can use in there, and it also gives you some trimming tools as well, where you can trim your video down. But the fact that it's got no layers and you can put any other videos on the top, it's really very limited with what you can do with it. Also on this laptop, it's also can be very slow working with it because this laptop is literally a crap top. Now I know this laptop's too slow to put Windows Word on, but amazingly I was able to get my favourite video editor on here, which is Nero Video. But the only trouble is, I mean, because once again we're limited with a Celeron processor, even though I can layer the odd video in on the timeline, it's still very frustrating to work with. For example, in the clip that I used to do the guitar section, the small guitar intro I done, I would like, for example, to put the lyrics in time, but if you look how it plays back, once again it's not in sync and very slow. So getting to place your lyrics in the right place as you're actually singing them, it's practically impossible to work with. Whereas on a normal desktop computer, this had no problem at all. Well, you can certainly see how technology has moved on over the years when you consider you compare something like this with like that attaches to one of these. I think after about a month or so after my desktop had gone down and put up with the CRAPTOP, it was then, for some reason, I knew that Apple products like the iPhone, for example, had always had good music software, so it was capable to put a studio on your iPhone, which is something, I mean, when I looked years ago, there's nothing hardly about for Android, so I decided to have a mooch around to see if by now anything had changed on that score. I came across this piece of software by Audio Evolution Mobile for Android, and basically it's a DAW, a digital working station, just like Cubase and Pro Tools and all the rest of them. The good thing about these, this kind of software is for mobile phones, etc., is that it's relatively cheap. I mean, for example, the software itself costs £6.99. Then when you download that, you do need a better audio driver to be able to use it, which would cost you another £2.99. So you're looking at £10, and plus you're going to need an OTG cable, which cost me another £5 to be able to plug your audio interface into your mobile phone. So overall, it's not a lot of money. The good thing about having the software on your phone is that you can actually cast it from your phone to your TV, so you got the bigger screen to work with. But that's all very well, but as regarding for working the actual DAW on the your mobile phone, it can be a bit tedious, especially with it being a lot smaller, and really this kind of thing would be more suited to a much bigger 7 or 10 inch tablet than your actual mobile phone to get around it. But as you can see, it's got all sorts of things on here. You've got there like you've got reverb, compression, effects to work with. You've got you can even add drums and things like that to it. So you can, there's certainly a few things you can do in there, but it's very limited with all the effects, in comparison to what you'd have in something like Cubase, where you'd have much more professional effects you could work with. But for doing stuff like drum patterns and probably working with keyboard MIDI, this kind of thing's fine. I mean, you can record yourself singing a song as well, but the one thing about it is that you can't really use your phone to video yourself at the same time, so that is a disadvantage. I think regarding Evolution's mobile studio, I think it's a good thing that they have now got something for Android, and from what I've looked around at what is available for Android, it's perhaps probably the best thing there is in the way of a DAW to work with, though it's got its limitations as with anything with a mobile device. I mean, I'll be honest with you, you're far better off with a mobile solution on iOS with Apple. I mean, but there again, if you're going to work with an iPad, because you're going to need something like a tablet to work on something like this rather than a mobile phone. It is an expensive, very expensive option, because those things cost well over £1,000. And I'll be honest with you, for that, if you're going to spend that money, you might as well, you could build yourself a desktop and get Cubase and whatever, an array of effects what you could use, so which is far more professional than anything you can do work with on your phone. I'm not saying you can't work with these things, but you can, but they're a bit tedious, as I say. You have to spend more money to go about them, and certainly this kind of solution certainly hasn't got enough effects to work with. I mean, for example, guitars, you've got no effects, so it's not as if you could put native instruments guitar rig on here. You certainly couldn't power it anyway. So, but if you want to just do your basic things like drum loops, do a couple of synth things on here, that's about as good as this studio is really good for. For my purpose, it's probably the only thing what would come in handy is a drum editor. But I've got tons of those anyway. But like, as I say, but I mean, it only costs like, I only spent £15 in total on it, so it's not as if I've lost a great deal of money in buying it. Is it worth the £15? For some people, I think definitely is, and if you've got an Android device, I would recommend it, for those who are creative in other ways. So I mean, because it is good for that. But like, I mean, is it going to be something you're going to get for an iPhone? No, never in a million years. But the best studio you're ever going to have is really on a computer, like a Mac or a PC. It's as simple as that. It was whilst I was making this video that this laptop really starts to piss me off. For example, this section here where I had to use my Microsoft webcam, it wasn't powerful enough for the camera to work.
It's got a few things in it.
And as you can see, it's very sluggish. And this is from the original clip I made, which eventually I had to take away the audio and do it, talk over myself. And everything just, starts to freeze, and And you can see it in the video I put just further back here in this, the final video I made. Things got so bad, but I decided to have a look on Amazon to see if I could find any memory to take it up to 4 gigs. And that, to be honest, I wasn't sure how good the modules was. I originally put in the laptop because they was from various other laptops and they could have been not running at the full potential. So I was quite surprised to find a 4 gig set for the price of £16.49 on Amazon. I mean, normally for old laptop memory you would pay a lot more than the new memory. So and this would be stupid money, like 40 or 50 pound, or probably more than that years ago. But at this price I thought, well, maybe, I know it's only a Celeron and it ain't going to make much difference, but it was worth a try. So I sent for these and they arrived the next day. The chips arrived in a nice presentation tin. I must say I was quite surprised by that. They've really done a nice presentation of it. You've done a nice black polystyrene protection on the top, and there you can see the chips inside the case. Not bad for 16.5 quid. Having installed the chips, I immediately went to have a look at the videos on YouTube, and there was no change there, still sluggish. And I also went into my editor to see if I could actually at least put in the lyrics for the little song on the intro I was doing, and no joy there. As I expected with any Celeron processor, you know, even upgrading the laptop from 3 gigs to 4 gigs, giving you that 1 extra gig, is gonna make hardly anything. And in all reality, probably give me about 2%, if that, you know, of how this CRAPTOP actually performs in its performance. I think the thing is with when things were built like this over a decade ago, they would have performed obviously a lot better than they are now. I mean, over the years technology has changed, even the way the internet and the graphics have changed, and everything these days does take a lot more better processing and more chunks of memory to be able to run, and you know, to have at least something that functions good. I mean, this laptop, I mean, the only reason, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't like laptops at all, never had. I've had any intent of ever using one, to be honest, because I've repaired loads of them. Years ago, when these were built, you had things, I've repaired things which were like cost over £1,400, like Toshiba satellites. Supposed to be some terrific laptop, but years ago, of course, they could never call the thing, so they put stupid processing power, which was that high, but it was too high for the laptop to actually function for about 20 minutes or even half an hour, and by then it had heated up and closed down. And the only way around it was to obviously try and put in a different fan or whatever and try and get it to cool down. And there wasn't, it was tedious messing about with the things, and they were stupid. I mean, obviously, as I say, like today is different. They have got round the cooling of the laptops very well, and these days you can get like 3 gigs and, you know, nearly up to 4 gigs running perfectly well on a laptop. So they're not too bad these days, but like, to me, the laptop's never interested me because of its size. And it's like a mobile phone. The mobile phone, well, my mobile phone, which is the the S7 Edge is certainly a lot faster than this laptop, and it runs rings around it, and it's really good. It functions very well. It's got a great performance, but it's not the kind of thing I would like. I like typing on and things like that. So you know, it's only good for watching YouTube videos in bed and the odd bit of things on Facebook and stuff like that, and ordering stuff on Amazon. And then that's about the only. This laptop, as it stands today, even with 4 gigs in, will only function as something that's good enough to do a bit of internet shopping, and that's about it. You wouldn't do a lot more on it. Play the odd little game like solitaire and things like that, but not any powerful game or anything like that on it, you know. And he certainly has regarding making music on it. This thing's really hell to work with, and this video certainly took me absolute hours to make, and it's just so slow at everything, the way it processes things. I mean, even for example, when I got all the video in Nero and had to render it out, it took 3.5 hours. Now on my normal desktop before it broke down, it used to take, for the video as long as this, would take at the most 12 or 14 minutes. So there's the massive difference of what you have to put up with on this thing. It really is a nightmare to work with. Well, anyway, that's enough about the CRAPTOP, and I'd like to end up with this. CRAPTOP's a waste of time.